Welcome to the country Paradiso. Paradiso is able to produce two things, food and guns. And the following table given to you shows how much food and how much guns they can produce. So if they use all their resources to produce food, like combination A over here, then they can produce 1,000 tons of food, but then they have nothing left to produce any guns. The same way, if they use all their resources to only produce guns, like combination F over here, then they can produce 5 million guns, but they don't have anything left to produce food. Now, op combinations B, C, D, and E in between shows you when they divide their resources amongst food and guns, meaning they produce a little bit of both. B, they produce 900 tons food together with 1 million guns. Combination C, they produce 750 tons of food together with 2 million guns. Combination D, 550 food together with 3 million guns. And combination E, 300 tons of food together with 4 million guns. Okay, we understand the table. So let's make the small in the corner and let's draw the PPC curve for Paradiso. There we go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the information given to me in the table and plot it on my axis. My vertical axis I'm going to call food. And my horizontal axis I'm going to call guns. Let's plot the amounts given here for food. So I have 0 is over here, the origin. Then there's 300 tons of food. Let's make it about here somewhere. Then there's 500 tons of food. 750 is over here somewhere. Then I have 900 tons of food. It's probably over here somewhere. And lastly, 1,000 tons of food. You can use a ruler to make sure you get the dimensions just right. Then on the other side, I have guns. I'm going to put these values on the horizontal axis. So I start with 0 guns, then 1 million guns, 2 million guns, 3 million guns, 4 million guns, and 5 million guns. Right, now I have all my information on the axis. Now I can plot the combinations. Let's start with the combination where Paradiso use all the resources to produce food and they have nothing left for guns, meaning combination A. Right? At combination A, they produce 1,000 tons of food, so over here, and 0 guns. So I know this point is right on the axis, right? So I'm going to call this point A. Another extreme is when they use all their resources to produce only guns. Then they produce 5 million guns, but no food. So again, this point F is right on the axis. Now let's look at the points in between. First I'm going to look at point B. Point B, they produce 900 tons of food together with 1 million guns. Okay, so it intersects over here. This is point B. But let's just keep it neat. I want to take the dotted lines away. Alright, let's go to the next point. Point C. At point C, we produce 750 tons of food. So over here, together with 2 million guns. So my point C is where these two cross. Now I'm going to look at point D. Point D, we can produce 550 food. Just want to correct this on my axis. This should be 550, not 500. There we go. Together with 3 million guns. So point D is over here. Now let's look at point E. Point E, we can produce 300 tons of food together with 4 million guns. So this is my point E. Now all that's left to do is to connect the dots. So I'm going to connect from A through B, C, D, E, and F. And that's the general shape of my PPC curve. Remember also to name your curve. I'm going to call this the PPC of Paradiso. Let's go back to my PPC table. And this time I'm going to add a cost of increasing production of guns by increments of 1 million guns. Meaning, if I start with 0 guns and I want to increase the production of my guns to 1 million, what is the opportunity cost? Now, opportunity cost means the value of the best alternative I gave up in order to make this choice. So I chose to increase production of guns with 1 million, and in order to do that, I gave up 100 tons of food. That was my opportunity cost in increasing my production of guns from 0 to 1 million. If I want to increase my production of guns further from 1 million to 2 million, then I have to decrease my production of food from 900 to 750, meaning my opportunity cost of increasing production of guns from 1 million to 2 million is 150 tons of food. If I increase my production from 2 to 3 million guns, I decrease my production of food with 200 tons of food, meaning that's my production opportunity cost in increasing production from 2 to 3 million guns. If I increase my production of guns from 3 to 4 million, I have to decrease my production of food with 250 tons of food. So that's my opportunity cost. And lastly, if I increase my production of guns from 4 to 5 million, I have to decrease my production of food with 300 tons of food. So my opportunity cost of increasing production from 4 to 5 million guns is 300 tons of food. Now let's make this small and put it back in the corner. Now let's put it in the corner. There I have my two axes. I just want to fill out this graph neatly first. And there we go. So this is exactly the graph we drew earlier, just a bit more neat so we can see what's going on. Now, if I move from point A to point B, from point A over here to point B, then my production of guns increases from 0 to 1 million. From 0 to 1 million. At the same time, my production of food decreases from 1,000 to 900, meaning 100 tons, from 1,000 to 900, 100 tons. So the opportunity cost of moving from A to B is 100 tons of food. The opportunity cost of moving from B to C is 150 tons of food. And we can see it over here as well. The opportunity cost of moving from C to D is 200 tons of food. Exactly the same as my table. Then the opportunity cost of moving from D to E is 250 tons of food. Exactly the same as my table. And lastly, to move from point E to point F, now my cost is very large. It is 300 tons of food. Again, exactly the same as the table. So something important to see here is as my production of guns keeps increasing with only 1 million, um, with only 1 million. But my production of food decreases first with 100, then with 150, then 200, 250, and lastly 300 tons of food. So even though I increase the amount of guns I produce with 1 million each and every time, my opportunity costs increased every single time. That's why we see increased opportunity cost in your PPC curve.